the others will keep joining in as we go along. So very good evening to all the participants in this webinar. Pleasure to have all of you here. And we hope that over the next, half an hour to 45 minutes, we'll be able to, give you a good idea of what our one-year program is all about, and specifically focus on the employment prospects thereafter, because that really is the focus for this particular session. And we will, of course, be delighted to take your questions towards the end. So to start with, let me introduce ourselves first. So my name is Salman, and I am the Director for Career Services for both of our campuses, the PGPM and the PGDM, the one-year and the two-year programs. I have been with SOIL now for close to 5 years, and it's been a wonderful journey. Prior to that, I have very extensive experience in the corporate sector. Post my management from Delhi University, I got into the IT industry, and this is way before most of you would have been born. Mid-80s is what I'm talking about here. And then I spent the next 30 plus years in the IT industry, going through, all stages of development, basically. And towards the end, I was handling large businesses for companies like HCL. My colleague on the panel, and I'll let him introduce himself, Prateek. He's the Assistant Director for Career Services, and he plays a very critical role in our team. So Prateek, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Salman. First of all, a warm welcome to all the participants in this session. I have been associated with SOIL for 3 years, almost 3 years now. And prior to that, I have worked primarily into different sectors, but primarily into more business development and sales kinds of role. So before joining SOIL, I was heading the vertical for OYO supply in Delhi. Before that, I was working with Aditya Birla Group as a business head. So that has been my journey. And in 3 years, I've been working with Salman, handling the placements at SOIL for both our programs. So a warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you, Prateek. Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I will now take the next 5 to 10 minutes just giving you an idea of the program. I noticed that some of your questions indicate that possibly you have not yet fully researched the two programs, and specifically the one-year program, which we are focused on in this webinar. So let me start with the genesis, and I'll do it quickly. I don't want to take too much of time in this. So the school was set up in 2009, I beg your pardon, by our founder, Mr. Anil Sachdev, who's one of the best known names in HR consulting in the country. He's previously been the CHRO of Aisha for many years, started with the Tata Group. And he came together with 32 major industrial corporates. Just to give you a flavor of those companies, though you must have seen it on our website, I'm sure. Companies like Hindustan Unilever, Tata Steel, Infosys, the Aditya Birla Group, Mahindra and Mahindra, SAP, Johnson & Johnson. So these are 32 major companies which came together to co-create the school along with our founder, Anil. It started off, and the flagship program, which is what we commenced with, is the one-year program. And that's what we are talking to you about today. So that should answer one of the questions that I've just seen. Our focus here is going to be on the one-year program, the PGPM, postgraduate program in management, for which we have two distinct streams, the HR leadership program and the business leadership program. Both of these are a part of it. And under business leadership program, we offer specializations in finance, marketing, and analytics. And of course, HR is by itself a major specialization. So that is as far as our one-year program is concerned. 4 years ago, we also opened our new campus at Manesar, which offers the 2-year PGDM program. And that program, the student base is largely students fresh from after their graduation. They also have a few students with minor work experience. But in this program, which we are talking to you about today, we take in students like you who would have on at least 2 years of prior work experience. And on an average, our work experience in virtually all the cohorts we've had so far has run to above 3 to 3.5 years is where we average as far as our experience level is concerned. So this program, the one-year program, has been a very successful program over the years, and it is successful for a variety of reasons. One is, of course, the fact that it runs largely as an executive education program, which means we get in, as I said earlier, students with prior experience who come to us for a year, learn the tenets of management, understand how corporates function, understand how each and every element, each and every functional area, functional domain within a corporate works, be it human resources, operations, supply chain, finance, marketing and sales, all of these. And when they leave the program, they are extremely well equipped to be plugged into leadership roles in industry. When I say leadership does not necessarily denote the levels of hierarchy in an organization. Leadership means, are you somebody who is capable of leading people? Do you enjoy the respect of people? Do you bring both domain competency as well as strong human qualities like ethics and compassion to the table? So these are things that we focus on very, very strongly, which is why all of our recruiting partners over the years have admired students from SOIL's one-year program who've joined them in terms of these qualities of leadership that they bring to the table. This is a very important point that I want to stress on up front. We are not just a program that will teach you about management and business management in terms of the core skills and competencies. It also helps develop you as an individual and develop you as a leader, which is why our corporate partners have high respect and regard for us and our students, and they repeatedly come back. And of course, that list of recruiters keeps expanding. I'll, of course, get onto that, and my colleague Prateek will also enhance that side of the argument. So that is as far as the program is concerned. One-year program where you'll be specializing in one of these 4 domains that I talked about, which means either HR or analytics or marketing or finance. And of course, we offer a minor specialization as well, which means along with the major that you pick up, you can pick up some courses from a chosen area of minor specialization as well. We have, over the years, not just kept pace with industry, but we have been a step ahead. And I'll explain to you what exactly I mean by that. These 32 industrial partners of ours, these corporates, there's this consortium that is referred to, they did not just become a part of our journey when we were being set up. That, of course, was in the year 2009. They have been with us ever since as well. And I'll explain to you how. A, they help us regularly reframe and revise our curriculum based on how they see trends in their industries. So we take a lot of inputs from our corporate partners and regularly revise our curriculum before industry even gets to those points. So this is a significant, advantage that you will get out of our program. Just to give you an example, we were amongst the first business schools in the country to bring out data science and analytics as a core area of specialization back in the year 2016. Very few schools, if any, had started this as a separate specialization. But since we were so closely with our industrial partners, we were getting inputs from them that data is really going to be the new oil, as they say. Data is going to drive business. We started this specialization a long time before the others did. And since then, our analytics program has grown very significantly. Of course, all the others have as well. And we now have a strong sprinkling of data science in our other specializations as well, which is exactly what the industry demands today. So this is one advantage that we get out of being associated with our corporate partners. Secondly, they also help us screen candidates such as yourself. So, when you appear for interviews, you may well find besides one of us, there could also be a member of our industrial consortium who's part of the screening panel, because these people understand exactly what quality of students we require in terms of not just what they know in the domain, framework, but also what qualities of mind they carry. And that is very critical. Third, and not the least, a lot of our partners, our industrial partners, also hire from us. They recruit from us. Now coming to an element that I'm sure all of you have deep interest in, and that is what Prateek and I bring to the table here, which is really our core area in soil. That is the area of placements. So as far as our placements are concerned, the last 2 years, incidentally, have been 2 of our best years. And this year, touchwood, is also going extremely well. I won't just go into the data points. You can refer to the data points. At this point, for instance, we are ahead of last year when it comes to our average compensation, which is running close to 11.5 lakhs per annum. We are also ahead in terms of the proportion of our students placed. So nearly 55-60% of the batch is already done, and we have clear visibility to place, excuse me, the rest of the batch also over the next month and a half. That is what we've targeted by the end of February. So our placements have gone very well. We get recruiters from across industries. So, there is a general misconception out there in the market that at soil, you'll only find jobs in technology and IT and, segments like that. That is not the case. Yes, IT and technology do tend to be our largest recruiters. This year as well, we've had the who's who of IT and technology already hire from us. But we also get significant recruiters from other domains like BFSI, like retail, like manufacturing, like e-commerce. So our recruiters really, healthcare, we get recruiters from across domains for each of our functional areas. So therefore, if any of you are looking to switch your not just your functional domain, but your industry, you'll get excellent opportunities to do so if you join our program. The other thing that I just wanted to briefly talk about is that the hiring that takes place at soil invariably covers a variety of roles. It's not just the industry, variety of industries, but a variety of roles. So for each functional domain and including your areas of specialization, be it HR, marketing, data science or finance, you'll get a variety of roles. And those roles, the quality of those roles has been consistently improving over the years. And today, we get excellent roles in areas all sorts of areas covering program management, product management, digital transformation, technology applied to HR, every single domain, you will find excellent roles coming into the picture. One or two final things before I bring my colleague in, and then thereafter we take up your questions. Our role as a career services team is not just restricted to bringing these major companies in and maintaining those excellent relationships with them. We are also closely involved in the student development process. So each of you as an individual, if you join our program, will get the benefit of all the services that we offer on the table, which means preparing you to become a part of modern day corporate India. That is what it's all about, which means, do you carry the requisite skills, the requisite domain knowledge, and the ability to communicate with a prospective employer or recruiter? That is what the focus of our student development activities on. So it covers a gamut of things, from giving you adequate training and in areas like aptitude tests, in case analysis, in mock interviews, mock GDs, everything that will help prepare you better for the recruitment process ahead, and things that a recruiter would expect of you during that process. So that is a part of our responsibilities. One or two of the other things that we deal with as a team, and which are extremely beneficial to our students, we conduct, or we own up the mentorship program. So for those of you who are not aware, SOIL is perhaps the only school which offers two levels of mentorship to each student. One is the internal mentors, which is people like us. So each of you will have an internal mentor assigned to him or her. And secondly, and perhaps even more importantly, there is an industrial leader that you will get associated with as a mentor. And that mentor relationship is a key element of our program. Right throughout your one-year journey with us, you will have the benefit of the experience and knowledge rather, that mentor brings. So we have CXOs in that mentor list. We have other top leaders from industry who will be mentoring you. There are people who have done, who have had major achievements in their corporate careers, who will be your mentors. So the idea behind this mentorship program is not to train you for a job. That part is separate. In fact, we discourage students from talking to their mentors on how they can do better in their interviews, etc. That's not what it's all about. What it's all about is the mentor guides you to become a better version of yourself, which is really the key element of success, even when it comes to your recruitment process. So this is another very unique factor that we bring to the table in our one-year program. So these are some of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. I've already mentioned, some of the highlights of our placement journey thus far in this year. I'll now invite my colleague Prateek to take you through some of the rest, and thereafter we will open it up to questions. Please start typing in your questions. Any thought that comes to your mind, please start typing it in. And once Prateek is done, we will go ahead and start answering your questions. Please go ahead, Prateek.
Yeah, thank you, Salman. So I think broadly you have explained the entire concept very well. I don't think so there's many more things that I can cover. But quickly, just a few key points that I wanted to share with all of you is, so the one-year program, right? So the one-year program is really a fast-paced program, right? Wherein you'll be doing multiple things at one point in time. You'll be juggling with your classes, your assignments, your research, and you'll also get exposure to multiple clubs, multiple academies that we run in the institute. And then, of course, 3 to 4 months down the line, the pressure of placements will also start building into each one of you, right? So 1 year program is a really exciting journey where you have to do a lot of things. And that is what I feel is the crux of an MBA program, where you are able to handle multiple things at one point of time. So anybody who's not up for having many sleepless nights should not think of get into a 1 year program, right? So that is kind of bill that each one of you will have to go through, right? So, and now coming to placements, I think Salman covered it very well. Not just the IT industry, which happens to be a recruiter. We have companies from all sorts of, or all industries, I would say, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is telecom, whether it is into special boutique analytics firms, whether it is into consulting, and so on, FMCG, I can go on and name n number of sectors that have been participating, in placements for the 1 year program. So just to give you a quick context, so all of you would be at some point of time have worked in certain sector, may or may not have liked that particular role, and now looking for a transition. So somebody coming from a sales background would be trying to get into consulting, somebody from, let's say, hospitality trying to get into HR, somebody from, technical software IT background trying to get into a more project manager kind of a role. So all that transition that I just described about, we as a careers team enable that, right? When you worked in a particular sector for a particular year of time, your visibility to different sectors and sectors that you have not worked in is not very high. And that is where we step up, where we step in preparing you about how you need to prepare for that particular or that aspirational brand or that aspirational company that you're trying to get into. What are the things that you need to do to build your profile more relevant to that particular industry, that particular role? So we help you all sorts of activities, starting from, how do you present your resumes to a particular role, a particular industry? How do you talk? What are the general questions that are asked in consulting, manufacturing, on any of the industries that you are looking to transition into? So that is where we step in, and we'll help you throughout the year. So you'll have multiple interventions. And of course, it's not just the same as team. You'll also have a chance to, explore and meet a lot of alumni who've been working in your dream industry, or let's say in your dream role that you aspire to get into. So you'll get a plenty of opportunities to interact with them. You'll also have a lot of sessions where you'll get to speak to them one-on-one on what is it that they do in their role, what is their day-to-day activities look like, what is the skills, what are the strengths you need to build in this period of 1 year to, kind of make it big in that particular role or in that industry, or to say the least, to get a leeway into that industry. So that is primarily what we do. And so this year, I think Salman has already mentioned, we have a fantastic placement season going on, and we are very, very shortly closing the placement cycle for the current batch as well. So that these were the few things that I wanted to share.
Thanks, Pratik. With this, we have covered everything that we wanted to convey to you. Now we are very eager to hear from you and take up your queries, your questions. These could cover any aspect of the soil journey, but specifically related to careers. That would, of course, is our forte for both of us. And we would love to take any queries that you have on that. Right now, I see only one typed in towards the end, which is Pratik Anand asking if, he says, if I want to work in IT and I get placed in IT roles in MBA, is it recommended to learn programming languages? So Pratik, a lot of the roles that we get in IT companies rather, while knowing a programming language is always a benefit, but you will not necessarily need to learn a programming language to get into an IT company for the sort of roles that we have. So I'm talking about roles like business analyst, pre-sales consultant, product manager. There's a lot of such roles that come into play. And while, as I said, it does help to understand technology and to know a programming language is always a plus, but it is not a necessary part of it. So please don't worry if you do not have a programming background. Quite a few of our students don't. Of course, certain parts of programming these days are becoming sort of mandatory. For instance, all our students will learn a platform or a tool like R or Python as part of their analytics, course at SOIL. And that I'm sure each of you are capable of learning. So don't worry about it. There's something which will come very readily and very easily to each of you. Moving to the next set of questions, Anubhav is asking, what happens on Friday? I'm not too sure I understand, Anubhav. So Friday is it's a great day on the calendar, number one. We all look forward to the weekend on Friday. But if there is anything specific that you would like to know about it. So, I think Prateek talked about it briefly. You'll possibly need to give up any thoughts that you may have on having too much time on your hands for a great weekend, if that is what your question is implying. Because I can tell you from experience over the past 5 years, our one-year students, they are really pressed hard when it comes to, the time factor, which means there are tests, quizzes, placement drives, exams, assignments that need to be submitted, and of course, a host of classes to be attended. So while, yes, you are most welcome to enjoy on a Friday or any other day for that matter, but please make sure that you're performing in each of those areas as well. Okay, then, and I don't have a name for this question, but it says, what is CMAT cutoff for business analytics? We per se have not defined cutoff, guys. There is no cutoff. There was one earlier question also, somebody who had quoted their NMAT score. So we have not defined a cutoff point. However, over and above the score that you bring to the table, you will be, as part of your admission process, and I'm sure our team will brief you on it, there is a STAT exam that you have to write, which essentially covers you as an individual, and it has aspects of aptitude besides a lot of behavioral questions that were through which we try to do a psychometric analysis, basically, to understand you better as a person. Because on the basis of that, we also design what we call the development center for each student, which means for the unique needs that you may have as an individual, what are some of the interventions that may be needed? So this will be a part of your admission process. I hope I've answered that question. I do not have any other questions at this point in time. So we have some more time with us. If any of you would still like to ask a question, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, even post this meeting, you can either call us or write to us, and we'll be very happy to take your queries on any aspect of the soil journey. If there are no other questions, I think we could. I think no. I think there is one more. There are some more that have come in now. Criteria for applying in soil. This is Shikha asking the question. Shikha, you of course need. While we have not defined a percentage cutoff, but we encourage people to have at least 60% marks in their class 10, class 12, and graduation. And the reason why that is very important is a lot of companies which hire from our campus put that as a minimum criteria. So a lot of the companies, the major companies, particularly consulting, IT, technology, and a host of other sectors as well, they do insist on having a minimum of 60% there. So we encourage candidates who have at least that score. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, would be carrying that score. Other than that, there is, like I said, the admission test, and there is an interview through which we gauge your eligibility for the program, the level of enthusiasm, your thoughts about a host of issues surrounding us on a regular basis. So it's a fairly interesting interview process, which you will be a part of. Next question is from Anubhav again. I heard soil has a 4-day week and something different. No, no, Pratik, no, Anubhav. Sorry, it is not a 4-day week. It is closer to a 6-day week. So that is something. I'm sorry if I'm, you know, disappointing some of you by this, but I want to lay the cards on the table exactly the way they are. Bulk of the classes are Monday to Friday, but at times there are some classes on a Saturday as well. And most of our students stay in the vicinity. There are PGs that our students stay, PGs that soil helps you to get into. And therefore, you know, that commute to Gurgaon or to the campus is not a problem for them. And yes, I mean, I would love to see all of you have a great time in life, including in your program, but you know, you will have to devote a lot of time, effort, and energy into the academic curriculum at Soil as well. Okay, I have an interview on 18th. What are the tips? Jayant, I think I've already referred to some of it. You know, you need to be very thorough with uh, understanding yourself as a person. So, you know, when you are asked to describe yourself, you must know what are your strengths, what is it that you've achieved in life. You should understand and be able to answer questions related to your work experience, which is there on your CV, because, you know, there will be some questions asked on that. And other than that, you should know the world around you much better. I mean, that is very important, because we do insist that our students have a strong knowledge of not just the business environment, but the world in general, you know, things that are happening around us. Because even in the corporate selection process, you'll invariably find a lot of GD topics, for instance, focusing on things. They may talk about, you know, the war in Europe or the semiconductor crisis. I'm just giving you an example. These are things that we expect you to be well versed in. So I don't have any specific tips other than that. Just be yourself, and I'm sure you'll do well. Then we have one last question. Discuss about profile building part to get good placement in IT industry and what we can do on courses before joining. So this is from Pratik again. Pratik Anand. My brief answer to you would be, if you are keen to join the IT industry, you must first and foremost have a good understanding of the developments that are taking place in that industry. And that is an industry which evolves very, very rapidly. Since I come from that industry, I can tell you it's a very rapidly changing and transforming industry. You should understand, particularly in the current, technology domains, be it machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotics, all of these areas. You need to have at least a good understanding of these if you are to be successful in that industry. I'm not saying you need to be an expert in any of them. No, there are going to be courses also which will bring you up to speed. So you don't need to be an expert in any of those areas, but you do need to have a broad understanding. That is one. Two, you'll have plenty of roles to decide from, which roles to get into in the IT industry. So read the job descriptions that come your way very thoroughly, and you will find that you will get roles that are well suited for you as an individual. I hope I have answered your question. Anubhav is asking, tell us about internships. Anubhav, the 1-year program, we used to have internships earlier, but we sort of stopped that practice because it was becoming just too tight a calendar. I've just described to you how busy the life is going to be in the 1-year program. When we were running a 6-week internship program as well, and this was till the year 2019, we found that our students had barely enough time to get into the right groove before placement started in October. And that is the reason we have dropped the internship program. In fact, no 1-year program today carries internship, be it ISB or Great Lakes or any of the others. None of them carry an internship as part of the 1-year program for that very reason. Then there's a question from Anonymous again. 10th, 12th is about my BTech score. So my answer to you would be, if your BTech score is below 60, no, it will not stop you from getting admitted. The only slight risk that you may carry, and I call it a slight risk because some companies may not shortlist you for an interview because they do have an insistence on 60% throughout. So that is the only risk I can think of. If your scores in school have been above 75 and you are just below 60 in your graduation, that is not ground for us to turn you down. But I do wish to, apprise you of this slight risk as far as your placement is concerned. It's not about getting admitted. It is equally about, whether you can find the right job. But that said, quite a few of us, I'll not say quite a few, let's say about 15 to 20% of the students in each batch in the 1 year do fall into that category. I can tell you from experience, they do manage to end up getting good jobs. So you need not necessarily, be discouraged to take up the program for this reason. Okay, anonymous again, I have a question. I have pursued political science from University of Delhi, been a topper, prepared for civil services, couldn't make it, wish to switch to the corporate sector. Soil would be very happy to take you. However, if you do not have prior work experience, because your question doesn't indicate whether you have experience or not, you will not be able to get into the business leadership program. You can surely get into our HR leadership program. So, and HR, by the way, does go fairly well with your background in political science as well. So if you would like to apply for the HR leadership program, you will be most welcome in that. Danish is asking, I'm from mechanical, want to go into business analytics. Absolutely good, excellent combination, Danish. No reason for you not to be able to do that. We have a lot of students with mechanical engineering backgrounds who are very successfully able to transform into careers in analytics and business analysis, all of those segments. So no reason for you not to be able to do that. Anubhav again is saying, and in 2-year course. So 2-year course, Anubhav has a slightly different criteria for, so yes, internships are a part. If your question is about internship, because I see through the sequence that you are referring to internships. Internships are there in the 2-year program, standard 3-month or 2.5-month summer internship program after a student has completed first year. My answer was very specific to students in the 1-year program earlier. Okay, I've answered Danish, then Pratik, and then Danish again, graduation from political science, working in Tata Steel for 5 years. Danish, you are absolutely kosher as far as we are concerned. So don't worry about that at all. It's a good background that you have. Please go ahead and apply. Simply nothing that should discourage you from taking up analytics after having worked in the mechanical engineering segment. Last question that I see, you will not consider lower academic. I've already answered that question. I don't know who the person is. It says anonymous. I've answered that question. It is less about us admitting you into the program. The risk that you carry if you do not have a minimum of 60 in each course is that you may not get hired into some of the companies that come for campus. That is the brief point that I was making earlier. Danish is again asking, what about campus placement? No issues with that at all. 5 years work experience that you have in Tata Steel, and if you specialize in analytics, have no concerns on your placement. Please, it will happen quite readily. So, that's something I don't normally give that answer because finally it's up to the individual to succeed in an interview, but your background doesn't have any red flags in it as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I think done with all the questions that have been typed in. If there are any others, quickly, we can take them. Otherwise, Pratik and I can. Pratik, do you want to add anything further?
No, not really. I think we have answered most of it. There's no more questions on careers, about placements.
Sure, I don't see any other questions at the moment. So with this, then we will wrap up this session. And as I said, you are most welcome to post questions to us or call us at any point in the days ahead as well if you have any doubts. So thank you once again very much for joining this webinar. And we look forward to having some of you as a part of SOIL in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck for your interviews, guys. Best of luck.